later, I'll send you guys the recorded link so you're able to go back and watch it at any time. I also do answer questions at the end. It's too difficult for me to answer them during. So what will happen is you guys can put them in the questions tab and the panel on the right-hand side. I will answer a couple at the end. If I don't get to your question or you don't get a chance to ask me one, or maybe you think of something later on, you can always email them to me. Generally, I'll go through and do a little feedback with everyone else anyway. You're also, like I said, able to go back into the webinar if you missed something on our YouTube channel. I'll send you guys that link. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. This webinar should be pretty quick. Let me see, here we go. I just kind of want to help some of you guys that have done past pay-per-click campaigns, or maybe you're doing them right now, learn how to repurpose some of the leads you get that maybe don't turn into deals. So we don't want to really just kind of write those people off and throw them away. It's really important to reuse them in all aspects of your marketing campaign. If, maybe they were unqualified at one time and you can revisit that lead a couple months later, or, a lot of people contact you guys on pay-per-click sometimes doing research for financing that they may need 3 months down the road. So this is just a way for you guys to stay in front of them constantly, and also to make sure that you do a lot of follow-up with them. And sometimes different marketing channels can convert for leads that didn't convert in pay-per-click. Maybe they'll convert for you in a social push, or they get an email marketing blast from you, or a direct mail piece. They may convert on one of those instead of necessarily on the pay-per-click campaign. So that's kind of what I'm going to go over for you guys today. All my webinars are themed, so you guys can humor me. I did a little James Bond theme this week, seeing as there's a new movie coming out, and I'm a huge James Bond buff. So I get a little fun with it, keeps you guys entertained, and you're not snoozing on the other end, because I know sometimes I can be a little boring maybe. I talk very fast, so if you need me to go back and explain something differently, shoot it in the question box and I can go back and touch on it after the presentation. You're also more than welcome to set up a meeting with me to go over anything that you kind of want to be discussed in more detail. All right, well, I'm going to get started here. So like I said, our whole presentation today is going to be on, the psychology behind getting users to take action on your site. So this is essentially, getting users on the internet to fill out your contact form. There is a site behind it, because, if your form's too long, they may feel too exhausted to fill it out, or if they feel like your form might be a little bit spammy and they're really hesitant to put their contact information in. We're going to learn about how to encourage them to do all of those things. Also, we're going to talk about harvesting lead contact information, filing it, how to store it properly and organize it, repurposing those content lists, and also repackaging your content. So I did a quick survey last week, actually 2 weeks ago, because I was interested as far as what our graduates were doing after their pay-per-click campaign had occurred. Were they reharvesting those contacts that they received that maybe they didn't turn into deals, but they still had those leads? Like, what were they doing with them? So I came up with a couple different questions that I wanted answered for myself from you guys. And I'm going to go through them really quick, because it'll also be really beneficial for you to see what other brokers are doing with their leads after their pay-per-click campaigns have already passed. So I'll go through all the questions and some of the answers, and then I have my own little feedback about the survey as well. So the first question was, do you download and file contact information from your leads you receive on your website or an email campaign? This information is kind of equal in all aspects. The only things that scare me are the big never column and the when I remember to. This is something that you guys should always be doing. So I know some brokers do it on a monthly basis, like at the end of the month, they go in the back end of their WordPress dashboard and they actually download all the leads from that month. I highly, highly recommend that. If you do a pay-per-click campaign with us, we do that for you. I know the Platinum guys in all their pay-per-click reports, I always tag and attach all their lead contact information to those reports. If you do a pay-per-click campaign with us and, I haven't sent you your leads, or nobody on my team has sent you your monthly leads, shoot me a quick email because we can definitely do that for you guys. For those of you that don't run PPC campaigns, I am going to show you in this presentation how to go into the back end of your website and do that. I have a whole step-by-step guide for you guys. So this is very important. Everybody should be doing this whether you're running a pay-per-click campaign or not, because you do get website leads organically, or you might get somebody from your social media that went back to your website and filled out your contact form. They come from all different channels, so it's really important to go in there every month and download them, and also follow up with those leads as to how they found you, or maybe put them in different avenues of your marketing campaign, like an email list. Question 2, how do you store or file lead contact information from your campaigns? Everybody kind of has a different process in how they do this. I'm really old school, and I store everything in Excel documents, and I keep them on a folder on my desktop. A lot of people do that here. There were some that told us they did it in Word documents, which is, it's okay. I kind of advise against it because in an Excel document, you're able to funnel things based on what column they're in and organize the information. You can find information a lot quicker in an Excel document than you can a Word document. So I would advise against doing anything in a Word document. It's very hard to organize information in there, especially for what we're doing. Some other things that people said in the other column were they use a project management system, which is great, or a CRM system. Constant Contact, you can store all your lead information in. I saw some other ones that I've never researched before that I got to get into. I know Outlook does it, ACT Database and Pipedriver 2 that I wanted to look into that, you know, those, or you guys can do some research on their own, find out what works best for you. If you're old school like me, Excel documents works the best, I think. Because you can convert them to CSV files and send them over to Alex, and he can put them right in your email marketing campaign. You can send them over to our social department, and they can find them on social media and follow them with your companies on social media. So you're able to use any kind of different management system to do that, but I would definitely stay away from Word documents for those of you that said that you use Word documents. Okay, question 3, do you remarket to old leads you've received from previous campaigns? So this essentially just means, you know, from a pay-per-click campaign, maybe you received a lead and, you know, they weren't qualified, they had poor credit, and then you never talked to them again. That happens all the time, unfortunately. And you can kind of see with this graph here and how people answered. You know, there are very few people that said, oh, I always do that. And, you know, then there's others that say, oh, when I remember to, or sometimes, or people that didn't even know that was an option. So we're going to definitely go over that today. It's a huge point I wanted to cover with everyone, is you've got to remarket to old leads. A lot of these guys come to you and they don't know what they need at that time, or maybe they don't need the financing then. Maybe their credit score wasn't great then, but they fixed it over the year. You can remarket to leads that, you know, over a year old. You know, they're still business owners and they still may need financing down the road. And if you stay persistent and in front of them, they're definitely going to remember you. So my last question in the survey was, what do you feel is the best way to reach out to old leads you received from previous marketing campaigns? It's a mouthful, I know. A lot of you I know use email marketing. Alex really encourages all of our graduates that come through the program to download the leads and send them to him so he can put them in your email list. Definitely do that. That's probably number one as a suggestion. A lot of our graduates will cold call them 3 months later. So 3 months after they contact you, you can cold call them back in 3 months, or you can send them a direct mail piece and just kind of be like, hey, remember me, how are things going? You know, don't ever forget, you know, you might need financing and I'm here for you, kind of thing. So you do have a couple of those options. There are a few on here that people don't really think of that I'll go over with you, and that's mainly on social media, because nobody really thinks that you can, you know, stalk people down and find them on social media. But one of the big avenues I use when I go to a conference or after I talk to somebody on the phone for the first time is I go and I find them on LinkedIn. They already know who I am. I'm fresh on their mind. I find them on LinkedIn, and then anytime I publish anything on LinkedIn, they see it. All your contacts see it. So it's definitely another way to stay in front of, people contacting you on the internet. Go find them on LinkedIn. Go find their business on LinkedIn, or find them on Facebook and try to make a connection with them there, so that anytime our social department or our content department are putting out content or posts for you, it's popping up in their news feed every day, and you're constantly in their face. That's what we want to do. So definitely something to think of that's not on this graph is using them in social media and targeting them. For those of you that do pay-per-click or platinum campaigns with us, we do that for you already. So, well, as far as platinum, we do it for you already. If you do a PPC campaign with us, I will send you your Excel file of all the leads from your website, and then you can kind of go find them on LinkedIn on your own here. Okay, so, after all that data was gathered, I put this presentation together because I wanted to find out what the key points were for you guys as far as, what you already knew versus what I can show you that maybe you can use moving forward. And a big thing is getting people to fill out your contact form. Everybody kind of has mixed emotions on this as far as, what converts a user. So the biggest things for me are the keywords and the phrases you use, the call to actions, and the design and layout. Everything to kind of persuade the user to either go to your website and fill out your contact form. And of course, I've used James Bond's women here because he is the king of persuading beautiful women. So we're going to relate to this one. The biggest thing for your ads, especially in a pay-per-click campaign, this also applies to email marketing as well. The keywords and phrases you use. So you really need to think about what the user is looking for when they're on the internet or when they're opening up an email piece from you. They want to know how much you can give them, how fast you can provide the loan or the financing for them, and what makes you different than everybody else that's dripping them with emails or everybody else on the internet. So these three things are definitely what you want to keep in mind, either when you're cold calling somebody, building a pay-per-click campaign, building a content piece, or posting anything on social media. We want to make sure that we're giving the user exactly what they want. I know I've said this in previous webinars before. Users online have very, very short attention spans, and if you don't give them what they want right away, they will move on. So we try to keep it as clear and concise as possible. I pulled up a couple examples for you guys of how, my team here builds ads. We actually go online, type in the keywords that we want you guys to use or that you guys pick for your campaign, and we do a little competitive research to see, okay, what's everybody else doing, because we want to do it better. So if somebody says they can give $250,000, I want to give $500,000. We always want to be a leg up from anybody we're advertising with on the internet. So a couple things that I noticed are what Cabbage and other big lenders use, and you can kind of see them. I pointed them out a little bit here. Instant business loans, and as the first spot, that's pretty strong headline that they can do them very fast. A lot of business owners on the internet looking for financing are looking to get it really quickly, probably. I know when I talk to some of our PPC clients, I always say sometimes the internet is the last resort for people that can't get financing from a bank or don't know any lenders in their area. So this is like a last resort. So they want something quick. So that's really important. Down here, 10-minute online application, total big advantage. A lot of business owners think the application process can be kind of lengthy, and that tends to scare them away. So reinforcing that you have a quick application process or that they can pre-qualify in minutes, really important. Those are big headlines that will get somebody to click on it. Also, like I said before, they want to know how much they can get. So that's another important thing to include in ads, which we do for pay-per-click clients. If you're running your own pay-per-click campaign, these are three major things that you want to include in your ad copy or on your landing page, because these are what users want. And if you look through a lot of the ads I have up here from just typing in small business loans, probably 90 to 90% include all three. So obviously, you need to have those to have a little bit of a competitive edge, or at least somewhere to start. So once we get a user to click on your ad, what are some calls to action we can use on our contact forms whether it's on a pay-per-click landing page or in your email content. I know a lot of you write your own email content, so here are a couple buzzwords that I use that really do work as far as conversions. I've used a ton of different conversion buzzwords before, and these are probably the best ones that I found that work. A lot of you will see these in your campaigns if you run a campaign with us. Pre-qualify, here, now, today, free, connect, get started, act, and contact. Always, always, always include CTA words on your landing page, or else you'll never get anybody to fill out your contact form. You literally have to tell the user what to do. They have to be handheld through everything. I know that sounds crazy, but unfortunately that's how people are on the internet. So my next thing is landing page design. I used a really clean-cut James Bond versus dirty and rugged James Bond to kind of show you what I want in a landing page. This, not that. We want landing pages that are clear, concise, attractive, they look great, they tell the user what to do right away, and they're not too disheveled. And I'm going to show you guys a couple examples. So this is an awesome landing page. I actually came to this landing page from a pay-per-click ad when I was doing a little bit of research for this presentation. This is great, and I'll kind of show you a couple things that I love about this. If I can find my pointer here. All right. So first, foremost, this is what I love. Their title, Grow Your Business. That is already applying to me. That's speaking to me. It's not some blanket statement that's out there on the internet. They're telling me, okay, I can grow my business and I got to get started with them. The next biggest thing that attracts my eye initially is this over here, the contact form. And when we build landing pages for clients, we build them with the landing page smack dab in the face, because what do you want them to do? You want them to contact you. And with, you know, my 3-second attention span, these are the 2 most important things I need to see so that I'll start filling out the information. A couple other important things that M&T Bank included was that, you know, they added some credibility. So if you guys are a member of a Chamber of Commerce or you're a Better Business Bureau, you know, certified business, send us that information when we build your pay-per-click campaigns, because we add it to your landing pages or your email marketing pieces, and it adds credibility to your page. There are a ton of people advertising on the internet, and some of them are not legitimate businesses. We don't want you guys to get sucked into that. You know, when users are doing research, we want them to know that you're a legitimate business and, you know, that you're real people. Here are some other things they included that we always do for our pay-per-click clients as well, is just any details about your product that makes you different. Competitive interest rates is always a big thing that we add. Generally, we put the loan amount and how quick they can get approved. For some of our clients that focus on SBA loans, we really add in, you know, what the minimum FICO score needs to be, how many years in business they need to be, if they need a minimum revenue or anything. We add that in because we want to attract business owners that fit well for our product. Here you see their call to action here, get started with an SBA expert. That also adds a little bit of credibility, and then they repeat it down here. We do all of that for you guys. In my opinion, this might be a more lengthy contact form. I wouldn't necessarily choose this many fields for a user to fill out. I keep it pretty simple. Name, email, phone number, what do you need the loan for, and submit kind of thing. Very simple. You know, when you ask for an address and stuff, I mean, depending on a bank, maybe it's important, but for you guys, that's information you can get when you call them, and you kind of get a conversation started with them. It's a little more personal too. So this is a great landing page. What I want everybody to avoid if you're running a pay-per-click campaign or you're doing an email marketing piece is something like this. Holy moly, what's going on? I'm so confused. There are a lot of great calls to action on here and a lot of great information, but it's way too much. This kind of landing page, just from my experience, would not convert, and I just know it wouldn't. First of all, there's no contact form, so how are they ever going to get my contact information? Down here, let me get my pen out here again. You know, there's an apply and a phone number. It's so small, I don't see it right away. I'm likely to bounce off this page. You know, their phone number is everywhere. I can tell you a majority of users on the internet don't want to pick up the phone and call you. They're probably out researching a ton of different lenders and brokers that can help them, and they're most likely about to fill out a bunch of different contact forms at once, and it's kind of playing a game of, all right, who's going to get back to me first, or who's going to give me the best deal? So this is something you want to completely avoid in any marketing aspect, you know, on your content pages. If you have a social media pay-per-click campaign running, any of those landing pages, you don't want anything to look like this. It's way too text heavy. Like I said, they have a lot of good contact or call outs here, like approved in less than 24 hours, but it gets lost in all this information that I didn't even see that when I first looked at this page. The first thing I saw was all this text, and that totally turns me off. So definitely something you want to avoid. So this, not this. So that's just a little bit of psychology for, you know, getting users to fill out your contact form, getting users to click on your ads. Once they get to your page, what you have to do to get them to fill out your form. Now, after you have those form fill outs, like I said, monthly, you want to pull them off the internet. And what you can do is, you know, organize them in an Excel document, Salesforce, CRM system, or MailChimp. I'm going to show you guys how to do an Excel document because it's the easiest way to do it for, you know, from your standpoint, from my standpoint. And I think with Excel documents, you can upload them to any CRM system you have. They can be uploaded to MailChimp. So it's a good place to start as far as organizing your leads. In Excel, you're going to build columns for any different way you want to organize them: phone, email, product they came from, industry, if they specified what industry they work in. You can organize your leads based on geographical location. So if you're advertising in a couple different states, you can organize them based on, okay, what leads came through Texas, what leads came through New York, what leads came through Florida, and you can market them differently if you have them separated in lists. So I'm going to show you guys real quick how I organize them. So this is an Excel document that would be built for, you know, organizing my leads. Very, very basic. This is all it ever needs to be. Name, phone, email, date submitted if you want to organize it based on what month they came through. A lot of people do organize them based on what month they came through, because what happens is they touch base with those same leads 3 months later or 6 months later or even a year later. You can kind of do it in 3-month increments. Financing type, you can organize all your leads based on what product they were looking for or what they were requesting their financing for, and like I said, industry. And I'll kind of go over why it's important to organize them based on industry a little bit later. Okay. So this is kind of how you would pick apart a contact form and fill out all that information in your Excel document. This is a lead from one of our sites that we got. Actually, this is one of our company sites. I blacked out all the personal information for, you know, privacy of the client. But so this guy actually used his business name as his name. Some people use their actual name. Either is fine. But for him, I can tell, you know, okay, this guy owns a construction company. That is very blatant. Another thing is he provided us with his name, his email, his phone number, and then what he was looking to get financing for, or what, you know, kind of financing he was getting. He looks like he was looking for factoring for his construction company, so that's how I would organize him, you know, as a construction industry, and then looking for AR factoring. So 3 months down the road, when I go to do an email blast, I make sure I include this specific contact in my, you know, factoring email that's going out in January. I want to make sure he's in that. Or maybe I want to include him in a construction equipment email piece I'm putting out in February. You know what I mean? You can kind of put him in a couple different things, but they're all unique to what he is. You know, he's a construction company, so what can I do for construction companies? I can do a ton of different project financing options. So I want to make sure I funnel him in all those different email marketing pieces that I'm putting out throughout the year. For those of you that don't do pay-per-click with us, I'm going to show you really quick how to go into the back end of your website and export leads. When you log into your WordPress dashboard, which you all should have a login that allows you to get into the back end of your website, on the left-hand side is your column navigation. Now, there is a section called Forms. You want to click on that, and then this submenu will pop up below it, and you'll want to click Import Export. So that means we're going to import export all our leads. This window will pop up that you see here. You want to export all your entries. When you select a form, you can select these individually. You just select one at a time. And then these little options will come up. And these are the ones I select. I select name, first and last, depending on how your contact form is organized, your email, message if you want, and then entry date. And then you select the date, so it would be, November 1st, 2015, excuse my terrible handwriting on this computer right now, to the end of the month, and then you would be able to hit export. So once I have all my leads exported in an Excel document, now what? I have all these crummy leads that weren't deals, maybe they were unqualified, they were startups that didn't even have a business yet, or they had only been in business for 2 months, they were dying to get money, maybe they had bad credit at the time, or like I said, borrowers who don't know what they want and they were just, researching a couple lenders at the time or researching their financing options at that time. What the heck do I do with all these people? Because they didn't work out for me the first time. How can I kind of get them to work for me a second or a third time? Or how can I even build a relationship with them? So once you download those leads, the first thing you should do is send them to Alex. I know he's really on top of people about that. Granted, his department, they work with all the graduates, so working with 500 plus graduates can be overwhelming, and they don't always have the time to call you guys up and remind you to do this. So it's something that you have to kind of remember on your end, is to send your leads monthly to Alex if you get any new ones off your website. Or if you go to a conference and you have a bunch of business cards and you manually type them into your Excel document where you're keeping all your ads, send them to Alex every single month, and he'll send them with his team, and they'll organize them for you within your email blast. Like I mentioned before, you can also connect with them on LinkedIn. And I know LinkedIn, when they give you an option to connect with somebody, it's, how do you know this person? You can select that you did business with them through your company, and they'll recognize you and remember you based on your company name. So, make that personal connection with them on LinkedIn. This is a way to form a relationship with them in the future, especially if they're still a startup and they need to get their business going. 2 years later, they might actually use you. Or even months later if they didn't know what they wanted at the time. So those are the two biggest things you should do right away. The next thing is, say you've already did email marketing blasts to these contacts that you've had. You've sent out email content that you kind of use month to month. What can you do differently? I see a lot of our graduates that just use the same canned content for email every single month, and they pump it out to the same people every single month, and more people are unsubscribing from their lists, or they're getting put in spam boxes. We want to avoid that. It's really important to customize the content, and the way to prevent getting, blacklisted or dropped into a spam box or having people unsubscribe from you is to customize the content to them and their business, so that, they feel like you're legitimately marketing to them and it's not just a blanket email getting sent out. So this is why I tell everybody it's important to organize your contact leads in Excel based on any piece of information you have about them, where they're located, what time of year they came through, what they were looking for, and what their industry is, because you can formulate so much different kinds of content based on all those different characteristics of a contact lead. So a couple of repackaging and points to go through would be, using a new format, targeting new audiences, and targeting different audiences with different products that work for them. So you want to target audiences with products that make sense for their business. You don't want to just, be sending out factoring content to everybody on your list when it doesn't necessarily apply to, people that don't have purchase orders or businesses that don't have receivables. So the first one that's really big for everybody is new format. Make your content visually appealing, make it quick to read. Like I said, everybody has a short attention span. It's got to be quick. Using bolded lists and infographics, which I'll show you in a minute, or how-tos. We do this a lot for Commercial Capital Training Group, and we also do it for the Finance Marketing Group. We take content that we put out a year ago and we send it out in an email marketing piece a year later, but differently formatted. And you would never guess it because it looks completely different, but it saves a lot of time and energy, especially for a one-man broker shop, to repurpose old content instead of being like, oh my God, what am I going to write about this month? What product am I going to write about this month? How am I going to make it look different? All that is just shifting information around and maybe, making it look a little bit different. So formatting's a big thing here. And of course I use, James Bond and Austin Powers because they basically reformatted that movie into a comedy. So here's a quick example of what I was just talking about. This is an article we put out for Durham probably 2 years ago, and we recently just put out this. So I'm actually using the same information that was in this article that, oh my God, if anybody ever sent this to me in an email, I would probably delete it and unsubscribe immediately. It's way too much information to digest. It's great for Durham's blog, which we used it for at the time. We used it for Durham's blog just to kind of discuss how law firms could use factoring, but I would never use it on email or social. I would use something this. So it's the same content, definitely more visually attractive. If this came through in an email, people will probably convert a lot better than they would on a massive body of text. There are a lot of different free applications online that you can use to create these, or we can create them for you depending on kind of if you do your marketing on your own or not. This is definitely an option that you can do at home if you have the time to do it, or if you don't, we do them as well for a lot of our graduates. So just repurposing the content and formatting it differently, this is kind of what I'm talking about. This is actually considered what they call an infographic. So if anybody ever talks about building infographics for your content, this is what they're talking about. Visually attractive graphics with quick little details of information about the product that make it really quick to digest for a consumer. So another way to repackage your content that you receive is, using new audiences for different products. So personalizing content for each, let me see here, hold on here. Each group of your contacts is actually really important based on their geographical location, their industry, or the product they were looking for. This is why it's important to organize your information, because this will be 10 times easier if you have all your contacts organized based on these three things. I'm going to stick with the lead that I was using as an example before with the construction guy that was looking for factoring. So these are email titles. So there are graphics that you would put in an email content piece. When you guys build email templates, or when Alex and his email marketing team build email templates for you guys, they add graphics. They're not always customized, so you have the option to customize them based on whatever group or industry you want to target that email piece with. I know a lot of users just target everybody on their list. You don't have to do that. I would organize them based on little groups. So here I am. I have two different email content pieces. They're both for financing equipment, but I don't want to just send out the one below that seems pretty generic, finance equipment leases, low monthly payments. I have a group of construction companies that maybe I want to target in the spring when I know construction is really active. So, or in the summer when construction is active, I want to target these construction companies because they're probably getting a lot of jobs for the season coming up, and they're probably going to be buying new equipment in their off season. So, here I customize this piece to say lease construction equipment, no down payments. If I was a construction owner receiving this email, what heading am I more likely to click on? Probably the top one, because it's more customized to my business and it doesn't just seem like a piece of spam that, you know, a broker sent out a blanket email to all these different businesses. They actually took the time to customize it to my business, so I'm probably more likely to click on that. It's even got a, you know, construction equipment in the background, is very visually attractive, and it's customized to me. This is just an example of what I kind of want you guys to do when you think about the content you're having produced for your website, or the social posts going out for your website, or if you do your own email marketing. You know, think about customizing it based on industries or location, or, you know, the products that you're going to do. And there's also a lot of applications on the internet that will design these graphics for you guys for free. You don't need some, you know, $400 Photoshop software. There's a ton of free apps on the internet. You can just Google customized graphics and you'll be able to do that. So the last one I wanted to go over is repackaging content with new products. So this is, you know, targeting lists with different products each month, or, you know, also using content calendars to keep track of when you're promoting certain products, and scheduling around seasonal demands. So all three kind of I just touched on a little bit with a construction example. We had a construction lead that came through for factoring, but I designed an email marketing piece for him about equipment leasing. And I talked about sending out that equipment leasing piece in the off season to construction owner, or right before their peak season, because that's going to be the time when they're looking to purchase new equipment. So that kind of goes with scheduling things around seasonal demands. When I talk about using a content calendar, this is just, you know, if you guys use a paper calendar, if you use calendar on your phone or desktop, just keeping track of when you have email marketing pieces going out and what products they're going out for is really important, because you don't want to target the same product every month to the same list of people. It will really get annoying to them. That's where people start to drop off from your email list. You want to mix it up a little bit, target different lists every month, or target them with different products. You know, reformat the content. Even if it's the same content every month, at least reformat it so it looks differently, or it looks different so they think you're targeting them differently. You know, using all these different ways, you can never run out of content ideas. You'll always have something new to, you know, send out to your email list. The content calendars give you an option to keep track of what's going out. So when you get a phone call in March and somebody says, oh, you know, I found out about you for merchant cash advance, you can correlate it with your content calendar and say, oh, okay, I just had an email marketing piece that went out on merchant cash advances, so that's where this person came from. That will help you guys determine your conversions, you know, what email marketing pieces are working, and what products maybe need to be reformatted a little bit differently. So I hope this gave you guys a little bit of an idea of what to do with old leads you have. I'm always available to talk with graduates on, you know, what they can do with old lead lists. You guys can always call me or email me, and I'll kind of give you a couple suggestions. Our social team is also really helpful with things like that. Alex and his email marketing team will help reformat your content if that's something that you want to do. You know, don't hesitate to reach out to us. That's what we're here for. We want to be a resource for you guys to stay in front of contacts and, you know, not waste people that found you on the internet, or, you know, people that found you in a pay-per-click campaign. We don't want to waste those leads. They can definitely be reused. We can definitely keep marketing to them. So I hope you guys grabbed a couple different ways to, you know, repurpose some of your old contact leads or repackage your content. Like I said, if you run a pay-per-click campaign with us and you haven't received your lead list every month, shoot me a quick email and I'll send you it for when we ran your pay-per-click campaign. Otherwise, I will send this presentation out to all of you so you can kind of see how to go in your back end and export those leads yourself. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the question box. I'll be answering them in a little bit. I'm going to stay online here for about 10 minutes. But other than that, thank you guys very much, and you will be hearing from me soon.